I'm Channy, Leaneagh. I sing in the band Poliça.
And I'm Drew Christopherson, play drums.
And I picked this record as one of my favorites. Penis Envy by Crass. I think I first heard this from Drew. And Drew and the producer of Poliça listened to this band quite a bit growing up, and I had never heard of them before. And so it was an example of kind of one of the best parts about being in a band and touring with people is hearing new styles of music or hearing new music you haven't heard of before. It's something that I probably listen to more than anything else now, so it came at a good time. I don't know, do you have anything to say?
Well, sure, yeah. I first heard Crass when I was, I think I was in 8th grade, so I was about 13 years old, and I went to the record store, actually where Ryan, our producer, was hanging out with some of his older friends, and I asked them what the patch on his friend's arm was, and he said it was for his band Crass. So me and my best friend Ian bought a few of their records that day, and we went home and sat on his mom's bed and listened to them, and I had never heard, like, I guess, I had never heard any kind of music like that, but even just, like, lyrically, or the themes of the album was definitely my introduction to, like, punk rock, and it got totally changed the way I think about everything. This band, I think, is one of the most important, like, punk rock bands of all time, and that they actually, like, really lived their beliefs. They just kind of led by example, and they did everything independently, and they started their own record label. They released all their own stuff. It's very much like a strong influence on kind of the DIY scene that we like to try to lean towards. Penis Envy in particular, though, is I think is a good band, or a good album for Poliça, because it's a lot of the same sort of concepts and themes that we've been sort of inspired by lately, about, you know, just sort of a woman's perspective. Maybe Channy can speak more to those. Like, the topics on this album are very much like come from a woman's perspective, speaking about, like, the difficulties and of modern society, and I don't know.
And yeah, I think as a band, I was really impressed learning about them and first hearing the other records that weren't featuring just the women, that the whole band supported the two main women in the group, releasing a record that was really sort of, that was first featured them, but also really was like, you know, kind of like anarchist feminists, like anti-marriage, kind of just deconstructing all of the, especially in the 60s on to like the 80s. I think of the time when, and like, people were going to court for making records like this, and just speaking against marriage, speaking against kind of being what a woman's role is. So even thinking that that was still, so I guess that the band supported them putting this record out, that they had a group of men that they were making music with that were supportive of these ideas. And then also that a lot of the things that they said were, the lyrics in this record, I think, are kind of like some of the best lyrics I've ever listened to, and the delivery, and was I think one of the most impressive stories about this record too is that it, and in general with the band, are the things that they did with their music, and they were able to actually be political and like get a single off this record into a teen girls magazine, and tricked the magazine company into believing it was like a pro-marriage song, even though it was in fact like an anti-marriage song. And then you know, getting taken to court about their lyrics, and they made a fake tape of Margaret Thatcher and Reagan talking to each other that convinced many people, and you know, cause like political upset. So they actually made an impact in politics. And although Poliça is not political, it's very inspiring, and you know, it's kind of like it's kind of like hero status. These other musicians.
It's political, but that's not what's inspiring about it so much. Like for me, again, the band Crass really like shaped my view of like the world, and so it's more of an example of I guess the power of music, or the power a band can have over a young mind or something.
It's also really good music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, musically too, they're very adventurous, and they took their anarchist vibe and applied it to their songwriting, and they have, before there was like noise music and stuff, they were really experimenting with abrasive sounds that were meant to like upset you, but then at the same time writing good just songs. So that's I think how they inspire us, less about like the politics of the message and more just about the approach to letting their politics influence the songwriting, and like willing to do things I guess just to be adventurous with your craft.
Yeah, not trying to sell records, but not trying to make money, but just like make music that you're proud of.